Hey everyone, Nat Daddy here. This is the weekly review for Friday, June 27th. I read a lot of books. These are the ones that I thought stood out there. I got about 20 books here and a few that I read raw, so let's jump right into it. From Image, we have issue 5 of the Seasons. Pardon me, I've been enjoying this book. I believe there's one more issue. It's about a family called the Seasons. Parents are archaeologists, and they've been out and lost on a dig, and the daughters are been left behind, and they're kind of taking care of each other. Autumn, spring, summer, and fall. They all have different personalities, of course, and there's this mysterious circus that comes to town, and every time it comes to town, weird things happen to people. The whole town's disappearing. That, and now this town is somehow connected to their parents being missing, and now it's come to this town, and the circus is kind of growing in the town, and it's slowly like taking over. People are acting weird. Winter and her sisters are at odds because of all this. It's really a neat story. I enjoy the artwork in here as well. And again, just this whole creepy circus that kind of has this whole evil magic about it. So see what happens in issue 5. Hopefully they'll solve what's happening. They do find the parents here, that they've been kind of taken by the circus as well. So pretty neat book so far. Rick Remender doing that one. From DC, one of the Absolute books, we have issue 4 of Absolute Martian Manhunter. Really liking this book so far. Kind of a neat take on it, where the Martian Manhunter and John Johns are actually two separate people, but kind of living in one body. It's very, very psychedelic, this story in that. John Johns is a FBI agent that's trying to solve crimes, obviously, and John Jones is in his head all the time, telling them things, and they're trying to figure out how this white Martian is causing this insane heat wave to cause people to go crazy and start just murder people and all that. So neat. I really like this. Quite different than what we normally see from Martian Manhunter. Like I said, pretty psychedelic and trippy. Just a great read so far. So check it out if you've been missing it. Get caught up. Our other Absolute title is Wonder Woman number 9. We have Wonder Woman. She's in the maze now, and she is trying to get through this maze to that's what she needs to do, type of thing. So she's in here. She has found her way in the maze, and as she's doing that, she has come across like this Minotaur person. And now she's fighting with this Minotaur or against this Minotaur. That is to be decided in the book here. But Hayden Sherman's still doing the art in here. I'm liking it. I really like how they tie into a lot of the old mythology stuff in here, and that whole kind of just dark magic that Wonder Woman has now, being a princess from hell. So neat book. I'm really enjoying that one as well. Being summertime, we need to have a little Archie action there to keep you busy in the summer. Here we one of those digests. This is halfway to Halloween, so we got a book all about with Halloween stories and that, which is always great for Archie and that. So we got a combination of some newer ones and some older ones and some really older ones. But if you like Archie and you like the Archie Digest, especially the holiday themed ones, this is a halfway to Halloween one. So do check that out. Here's a Sabrina and Dracula one. Issue 4, I believe. Yes, 4 of the Mad Cave's Dark Pyramid. This is that story where a woman has gone up to like this, I believe it's in Alaska, the town, to try and find her missing boyfriend, who is a video blogger, podcaster type of thing. He's gone missing while he was searching this mountain, and this mountain has a bunch of like weird supernatural stuff about it, some creepiness in that, and the whole town as well. So the army is there. They're trying to keep people away from this mountain, and we find out that the army is actually had captured and is lost this creature called Eve, which is kind of like a monster alien type. And if they're not aliens, it's actually when gods were creating everything, these are the kind of the rejects, and they kind of collected them all and put them inside this dark pyramid, which is in in the mountain here. So it's kind of like a dimensional door, and that door has been open, and now these monsters are coming out, and they're trying to contain it all. So it's a neat story. I like it, and it's just got a little bit of weirdness to it, and a little bit of government cover up as well too. So pretty neat so far. I like it. The Dark Pyramid. We have issue 4 of DC and meets Sonic the Hedgehog, and we got more fun here with the DC Universe characters, like a bunch of JLA people in that, going against Darkseid, and they are teaming up with the Sonic people in there as well. So really like the artwork in here, the coloring in that. They do kind of have like a manga feel a little bit to it, and it's neat seeing the Sonic people in there as well too. Like, I'm not a huge Sonic fan, so I don't know a bunch of these people, but it's neat seeing them interact with the Justice League in that. So if you're a fan of the Justice League, or a fan of Sonic, or you got young ones around, they would probably enjoy this because it is pretty fun. From Mad Cave, we got Don't Forget Your Briefcase. This is a kind of an action adventure, but a little silly at the same time too. We all know about the special suitcase that the president has that has like all the nuclear codes in it. They call it the nuclear football. And they show here where it's been passed down through all the different presidentials over the years. And this one lady now is the one responsible for it. And yeah, so she is doing that. We have this other woman that works in the government office there, I believe just as a press secretary or something like that. And she has a son who has been kicked out of school because he's kind of a nerd and he lost it when he was getting bullied on and beat up some kids. And she has him at work because he's been suspended. And this is all happening when someone decides to try to assassinate the president. So this is all going on. There's a big kerfuffle. The briefcase gets mixed up with the kid's briefcase. The kid likes to carry around his dad's briefcase because he lost his dad before. And it turns out that this all goes down. The woman gets home. She finds out that she has this briefcase and not her son's one. And then there's a neat little twist there as well too that I didn't see at all until it happened. So that's a neat one. I'm going to look forward to reading the next issue of Don't Forget Your Briefcase. Issue 7 of Hyde Street from Image, part of that Ghost Machine imprint from Jeff Johns. This is that horror story where they have this area called Hyde Street where we have all these residents, we'll say, which are kind of like evil demons and stuff like that, that are put there, and they're not allowed to leave that area or escape or get out of their horrific lives until they have 10,000 souls collected for the scorekeeper in that area. So these people are always trying to do whatever they can to collect souls in that. And one of them, who is quite nasty, is this kid called Pranky, and he's kind of like a demon inside the shape and body of a little Cub Scout. And he is trying to take out the Frankenstein type monster here, which is actually just an old actor who got cursed, and that's how he has to live his life now. So this is really neat fun, kind of supernatural monster stuff too, all taking place in this one neighborhood where like I said, the residents are competing for souls to escape this kind of limbo. So I've been really liking all the Hyde Street and their characters. We have the conclusion for the We Are Yesterday Justice League stuff, where it was going through the Justice League Unlimited book and also the World's Finest book, the Batman Superman team-up book. It is the old Legion of Doom has been come to the future, and they're the ones that have been taking out all of the Justice League and their heroes with this kind of ultra powerful Gorilla God who's powered by the Omega Force. And this being the final issue, the heroes do overcome it in that. And in doing so, they manage to save the day in that, but they're unable to return all these different heroes from these different time periods. So now we kind of have like a, people stuck on a time multiverse thing going on that they're going to try and work on to get these heroes back. So I guess that's currently what's going on in the DC universe. And at the end here, there's an epilogue that all shows that there's going to be some kind of big crisis event as well too. So maybe they're going to link all the times again. Who knows? But it was an alright ending for that. From Image, we have issue 3 of 4 of Moonshine Bigfoot. This is kind of fun. Really enjoying here. This is kind of like Bigfoot meets Dukes of Hazzard. We have this Bigfoot hillbilly type moonshiner who loves hot rods that lives in this forest area and has this hot girlfriend, and they're always being hunted down by like Bigfoot hunters and that. But at the moment, they're just trying to survive. His girlfriend there, she kind of has like a little bit of mysterious witchy powers as well too. Right now they're constantly dealing with this kind of alien invasion that's going on here and that. So it's kind of fun, kind of silly, really hyper active artwork all the time here. It's almost like too busy sometimes, but it's really neat. Lots of little hyper detail and action. And just silly fun. So if you like that, check this out. Issue 2 of Mr. Terrific Year 1. I enjoyed the first issue, so I thought I would check this one out. Second issue is pretty good too. It kind of jumps around a little bit. You have Mr. Terrific in the current time where he's still working on trying to figure out all this Omega Energy stuff. And then it kind of flips back as well too, that when he was, after his wife and unborn baby have killed, and he's not Mr. Terrific yet, he's just Michael Holt, successful inventor. And now the Spectre has approached him as he's about to jump off the bridge and trying to convince him to, no, don't kill yourself and become, Mr. Terrific in that. So again, continuing on with the whole kind of first year origin story of Mr. Terrific, which I don't think too many of us were familiar with, but it's been pretty good so far. And I do like the artwork in here too, kind of has that whole DC Year 1, like with the Batman stories and that feel to it. So pretty good on that. Speaking of DC history and that, they got a 4-issue limited series starting up. This is Mark Waid telling the history of the DC universe. So I like the way it's done here. You have Barry Allen out in the future telling how he is kind of like the historical recorder for all the multiverse, and that's what he's been doing here. And he starts off at the beginning with all the Anti-Monitor and the Monitor and World Forger, and then how they gave way to people like the Sandman, Destiny Dream, and all that, which led to like Lucifer and Eclipso and the Spectre. It goes all the way down to the Guardians, and it shows how the New Gods were formed, and this is all doing in chronological order. So we get all the way up in this first issue. They go through like the Caveman, the Immortal Man, and Vandal Savage in that. We see the Shazam forming, all kinds of neat stuff here. So yeah, the Demon and Etrigan who was formed, like Ra's al Ghul. Now we're getting to like American history in that. You start seeing some of the modern cowboy issues, the Western times. Then you get your war heroes. You got your JSAs and stuff. And then right up all the way up into the kind of birth of Superman and that. So this is kind of a quick overview of the early stuff. And then I believe, right here it ends off with the Krypton exploding. So I assume next issue will be Superman landing on Earth and all those things that took place around that time period as well. And that's fun. Another fun book here is the third issue of Predator vs. Spider-Man. Been really enjoying these a lot, more than I thought they would. The first couple were pretty gory in that, especially with some of the pretty gruesome kills that Skinner Predator was doing. But there's not so much of that in this issue. We have 3 regular Predators. They've come to, I guess, take out or bring home or whatever the Skinner Predator, because it's, so vicious and kind of a loose cannon. And unfortunately, Peter Parker and J. Jonah Jameson have come across these guys. So Spidey turns into Spidey, gets all his costume on that, and then starts fighting these 3. So we got 3 Predators versus Spidey. Kraven's in there in the city as well, searching around for this, like I said, this wacko Skinner Predator. And Mary Jane and this other little young girl have been forced into the sewers because they're being hunted again by this killer. So lots of great fun here, lots of action. Really liking the art in here as well. Story's pretty good so far. It does make sense, even though it's, a crossover of pretty weird proportions. But I do like it, and it lands off on a pretty good cliffhanger. I believe there's still one more issue. And of all of those Predator versus whoever Marvel Hero crossovers, I've enjoyed the Spider-Man one the best. Another Spider-related product, we got the final issue of Spider-Boy, but I'm sure there'll be more of them of that. Here we see Spider-Boy dealing with how Peter Parker, Spider-Man, has taken away his costume and told him he cannot be Spider-Boy anymore because he wasn't following the rules that they had set up for him to be a sidekick. But we do find out in here that he's actually pretty good at what he does. He was taking care of things in that. He did have all the angles covered. And he kind of shows that he does deserve to be Spider-Boy. And he does let him keep continuing to do that. So, fun little end. Spider-Man and Wolverine. This is the issue 2. Again, great artwork in here. Lots of covers here with all the kind of great artwork as well, too. We find out at the end of last issue that Wolverine was somehow involved with the death of Peter's parents, and now Peter has kind of flown into a rage, and now he's fighting him, trying to kill him about it. Wolverine doesn't, he remembers it, but he doesn't remember all the details clearly in that, and so these two are just kind of fighting tooth and nail, harsh as possible to take each other out, and it's pretty graphic, and I think there's a lot of damage, some casualties there, and right at the end, Wolverine actually does look like he kills Spider-Man, so we'll see what happens there in the next issue. I'm guessing he doesn't. Issue 27 of Superman. This is the Summer of Superman. The last issue, we saw that Lois has got zapped with that red Krypton, and now she does not have these superpowers anymore. She's just regular. Superman still is kind of ultra aggressive because of this red Krypton. And we have this character, Marilyn Moonlight, who I do like. This new character is in here helping him out as well. So the Superman stuff's been pretty good, especially with the movie and that coming. They've put some big writers on it, and I believe it's Josh Williamson writing these ones, and it's been good. I like it. So you see Lois is okay with not being super powered anymore, and we're dealing with Lex and Doomsday as well too. So lots of good stuff going on with Superman lately. Issue 2 of The Pale Knight. I like this as well from Mad Cave. Takes place back in those medieval night times, and this one guy here, this one knight who was a great and powerful knight for his king, and killed a lot of people in the name of the country and for his church and not for the king. And on his way back to see his son, finds out his son is sick with the plague and that, so ends up making a deal with death that he'll serve death as kind of like a horseman of the death, I guess, of the apocalypse type of thing if he spares his son. So now he's having to deal with all that as well. So do like the artwork here. Do like how this guy is, like you said, this kind of noble knight, and now he has to do all this stuff where he works for death just to save his son's life. So it's been a pretty good book, and I do like all the covers as well too a lot. So those have been good. Issue 2 of this new Thing series. I wanted to check it out because I kind of like that cover there. Bullseye's in it. So the Thing ends up having an encounter with Bullseye. The Thing and this guy that he knows from the neighborhood when he was a kid. The guy's niece is missing, so the Thing is offered to help him find it. So Bullseye's there. He ends up getting... they're kind of nosing around something that they don't want to, Bullseye's boss, who is the Kingpin, doesn't want to be found, so Bullseye sent there to kind of, steer them away and take him out. But it's kind of funny watching Bullseye, take on the Thing with his impenetrable and rock hard skin and that, but it's a good fight anyways. I've been enjoying this so far, couple issues in. Makes me think of like the old Thing 2-in-1 series, which coincidentally enough has the Omni of that came out this week, and I will cover that at some point. Issue 18 of the Ultimate Spider-Man. Really liking this series so far. We have the Parker family on the run after all that crazy stuff going on. They all think that Harry Osborn is dead, but he's actually not. His wife, Gwen Stacy, turns out to be a Mysterio, and there's like a whole group of those Mysterios kind of working behind the scenes like an Illuminati type of thing. So lots of stuff going on in here. Peter is, working with the Goblin again. We have Peter's son, who's, hanging out with the Black Cat. So he's in the AI suit, which turns out to be the black costume, which turns out to be Venom. So that's kind of cool. He calls himself Venom in that. But looks like he's been captured by the Kingpin. So neat turn there. Really liking this a lot too. So and another old property that they're starting up here. I'm not familiar with all. I never watched this. I was not a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers fan or VR Troopers fan or Beetleborg stuff. I was too old for stuff at that point. But I started to read this. It's all right. It kind of is jumping out of some of the more recent Power Ranger stuff. So I was a little worried that I wasn't going to be able to follow it, but I was. Obviously the Virtual Rangers are a team of 3, and they have these kind of Virtual Ranger power suits in that. So it's all right. I enjoyed it. It has some pretty good art. I'll need to read a couple more issues into it to get the full understanding of it in that. But again, it kind of has like that feel of, evil team against villains and stuff, or team of people against evil villains. So I'm sure it kind of similar to like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers or Radiant Black or something like that. But good start to that as well. All right, that's what I read digitally. We'll see you guys in a second for everything that I read raw. All right, here's what I read in raw form. We have the first new ongoing series from Biker Mice from Mars. We had the 3-issue limited series last summer. Introduced it to everything. They're back on Mars, and they're dealing with the same old stuff that they always do, fighting against these Martians and that. And during all this, they find out that there's some new characters in that, and also the explosion there. So all of Brimstone City there ends up being caught in the explosion, and they're caught dealing with that. So that's a fun book there. Really like the artwork in here. I myself am a Biker Mice from Mars fan, so looking forward to this and them in that whole Nancell universe with the Sectors and Roboforce and all that as well too. So that was fun. From Dark Horse, we have Tramps of the Apocalypse. This is a great book here as well too. Really like the artwork and the coloring in here. It's all just kind of pink, white, and black. And it's in the future, and it's an apocalyptic world where women and men are, I wouldn't say enemies, but women are very much looked down upon and controlled of by men. And then you have these 3 women out there who are tough badasses trying to survive out in the wastelands of their own. And they come across some men and kidnap one of them, hijacked all their stuff, and continue on from there. So this is a fun book so far, kind of a sleeper hit. I wasn't really expecting much of this, and I ended up really liking it. So kind of like a 70s exploitation film type of thing. So I really liked it. It was fun. These 3 books here are all kind of work together. They're called Never Wars, and this one here is about Dorothy. And it all takes place during World War I in 1914 or so. And you have these different young people doing their jobs in the war and that. This woman here is a nurse. Her name is Dorothy, and she's trying to help this one guy who's injured, and they're trying to send him back out to the line, and he's not ready, and she ends up being reprimanded and everything. And it turns out that these people are maybe the fairy tale people. So this is Dorothy. She ends up bringing out some magic slippers and a key and that, and going and arguing with higher up authorities about discharging this soldier. And during all of this, a tornado breaks out, and next thing you know, she gets whisked away, and now she's back in this other land, kind of like a Neverland type of thing. So now she's back in Oz, and the soldier who she was trying to help out in that is the Scarecrow. So kind of neatness going on there. So a little bit of kind of weird fairy tale multiverse thing going on. And then this issue is the same thing. You have this young soldier, I believe his name is Peter, or this is Giorgio. Peter's the other one, and he's a 14-year-old that's trying to enlist in the army to stop the war and help people in that. And he ends up working at the front line, digging tunnels and that. And the same thing kind of happens to him. There's an explosion and all this action starts, and then a tornado starts there too, and he ends up in Alice in Wonderland type of thing. So it's kind of has this connected world that these people are being sucked into, like these fairy tale worlds. So that's how this person ends up there. And then in the 3rd book, we have, this is the Peter Pan one, where we have a young guy. He's very, very young, and he's working with the pilots and that during the bombing, and he ends up being the Peter Pan persona. So he ends up, him and his captain are dropping bombs during an attack one day, and the tornado comes, and they get sucked away, and they end up being Peter Pan and Captain Hook. Some of these people remember some of their stuff, some people don't in that, so we don't know which is the true person, them being in this wartime, or are they actually the fairy tale people. So that one's a pretty fun one as well too. So I am looking forward to next month where they have more issues, I believe, where it's all going to be all in one issue. So we'll see. And that's called Never Wars. They said are a little confusing because all it says is 1A, B, and C. When I originally pre-ordered these, they had like Never Wars Peter Pan, Never Wars Alice in Wonderland, and that. So that's what I read raw this week. Hopefully you like that. Like, share, and subscribe. See y'all later for more reviews.